Greetings everyone and welcome back to a new video. I've been gone for a while, but I wanted to get caught up on the news here, and I should be putting out another video in the next couple of days, a ship review of some kind. I will do a Tamir class Raider review, but that won't be until next week. But we can go ahead and take a look at the blog post now, and then we're going to take a look at the blog post for the 11th anniversary bundle. So this is just like the ship we got last year, the Khitomer Alliance Battlecruiser. It's one of these ships where the aesthetic of all the different factions is combined into one. And it's a little bit harder to see the Federation um, input on this one. The battle cruiser really looked like a marrying of Federation and Klingon. This looks more like Klingon and Romulan, maybe. I'm not really seeing much Federation in this, but that's okay because it's still a cool looking ship. The Tier 6 Raider is scaling, of course, they all are these days. Any faction, that's the whole point. And actually, other big news is now factions don't even matter at all for ships, really. I mean, I think it's not every single ship, but basically every ship, for the most part, you can fly on any character now. So, have at it. So these restrictions don't matter much anyway. So having these combined ships for the anniversaries and other events probably makes sense, especially since they're running out of alien stuff probably to give us. They can always dig in the archives to find stuff that was in a one-off episode, but it has a hull modifier of 1, shield modifier of 1. Those are pretty good for a Raider. 5-1 weapon layout, which is good. That's kind of a hurdle that a Raider has to get past in order to really draw the attention of anyone who wants the ship to be high performing. And not to name any names, but we might see a Raider here in a few minutes on a different blog post that did not clear that hurdle. But 3 device slots, whatever, especially since we can get a 4th one with the experimental upgrade tokens now. Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Universal Command, so it can be a torpedo boat. Lieutenant Commander Universal, Lieutenant Universal, and Ensign Universal. And the nice thing about Raiders, one of the nice things about Raiders, is that they generally have pretty much all universal seats other than the captain's seat or sometimes even the captain's seat. And that just means that you have maximum flexibility. They're usually missing some though. They usually have like one less seating than a normal ship. So instead of like 13, you get 12 or whatever. But it's kind of made up for by the fact that you can pick and choose exactly what you want, which careers, what ranks, and everything. You're never going to have a situation where you want to run something and you can't do it unless the seating is just bad and you only get the 1 lieutenant commander. But we do get 2 lieutenant commanders, so excellent bridge officer seating. Very happy with that. Console modifications: 5 tactical, 4 engineering, 2 science. Very, very nice. This thing is going to make an excellent torpedo platform, or even just an excellent energy weapon platform. It's going to be a pretty high performing ship. Turn rate of 19, which is quite nice. It could probably be higher, but 19 is pretty high. It is a Raider after all. Impulse modifier 0.2, inertia 80, 15 weapon, 5 engine. That's great. Very nice power distribution. It comes with a console, an experimental weapon, and that is very nice as well. They could have just given us the bug zapper and like, hey, it's a free ship, but they actually gave us a new experimental weapon, so that's pretty cool. It has improved Raider flanking, and it has a Starship trait called Sniper. So let's come down a little bit farther and take a closer look here. Console Universal Alliance Tactics. The Alliance Tamir Raider comes equipped with the Alliance Tactics Universal Console. When activated, your Starship fires 2 powerful bolts of anti-proton damage at your target and gains a strong boost to weapon shield pen and outgoing damage for a short duration. For up to 2 minutes after activating the console, it can be activated a second time to apply a powerful burst of flight speed, turn rate, and control resistance. The console also provides a passive boost to anti-proton damage and Starship weapon amplification. This console can be equipped on any Starship. Only one of these consoles may be equipped at a time, but it may be equipped in any console slot. So that's not a bad console, to be honest. Obviously, the numbers are always important, and they tend not to give us those. People already have it in the game, but I'm going to let myself be surprised on that one. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing an anti-proton build, this is probably going to be one that you want to use, even if it's just maybe for flavor. And it seems like once you've used it to get the damage in, you can use it a second time to give yourself a little evasive maneuvers boost to get some speed. Speed is always valuable. If you've been watching my DPS guide series, you would know that. So, I mean, I can't see how it's a bad console. It's probably worth using if you have an anti-proton build. We'll see when I do the review next week, actual proper review of the ship, but it looks like a pretty good console. Experimental weapon, Repulsor Blaster. The Repulsor Blaster deals heavy kinetic damage to its target that increases with the distance from the target and knocks the target slightly backwards on impact. It has a 180-degree targeting arc. I don't know if I like this because the damage increases the farther away it is, and typically you want to get close to your targets for a variety of reasons. So I'm not sure about that one. Also, it only has a 180-degree targeting arc. I think I've seen people say that it has pretty good damage, but I'm guessing it's not a top tier experimental weapon, but honestly, who cares? The fact that they gave us something unique, that they actually took the time and effort to create something new to put with the ship is good enough for me. It could be anything. It could have any effect, any damage. It could be good, it could be bad. I'm just happy that they actually gave us one and didn't just stick the bug zapper on it. So it gets a thumbs up from me just for being, unique and new. Starship trait Sniper. After achieving level 5 in the Raider, you will unlock this Starship trait. When this trait is slotted, your torpedoes do additional damage at long range, and you gain a short-term boost to critical strike chance when firing torpedoes from more than 5 kilometers away. And I don't know, again, I have not seen the stats on this. I know it's in the game, so people could look at it. If it was available for Lobby, I would just go on Tribble and snag it, but the buyout is in Zen, so I'm just going to wait until I finish the event. I'm not going to pay the money, so I don't know. I mean, I can't see this one being bad either because torpedo builds are so good, but on the other hand, are you going to be able to find room for it? Traits are already kind of tight. What do you cut? If the numbers are really good, I would have preferred critical severity over chance. I feel like we have a lot of chance, and torpedoes really benefit a lot from severity. But and then the 5 kilometer thing might be a little bit tricky to work out. But I could see this being very powerful, and especially if you want to get into torpedo boats and you don't have some of the more expensive traits, it's a no-brainer. I think this is a very valuable trait. It's going to go on my free-to-play torpedo builds 100%. No, there's not going to be any question about that because I can't get some of those really juicy expensive ones, especially now that they are making every ship available to every faction, because one downside to that is that they no longer get cheap cross faction traits anymore. So yeah, definitely it might be top tier. It might be something that you use even if you have everything available, or it could just be a really good budget trait. But either way, I feel like this is going to be pretty good for torpedo boats. So let's switch over to another blog post and get caught up on the anniversary bundle. Okay, let's take a look at the anniversary bundle. As part of celebrating our 11th anniversary, we're proud to announce our second major bundle, legendary bundle. Not quite as legendary as the first one, spoiler alert. A lot of people are calling this the KDF bundle, but it really has 2 Federation and 2 Klingon, so I guess I can't really fault them for that. They didn't actually call it a KDF bundle themselves. But yeah, I think people were hoping for a KDF equivalent of what we got for the first legendary bundle, and this is not that. In addition, there are some other problems we'll talk about in a moment, but it's going to be 25,000 Zen as a retail price, which, when you look at what you get, is absolutely astronomical and ridiculous and farcical. It's going to be 25% off from February 18th at 8 p.m. to March 4th at 10 p.m. During this introductory sale, it's the best time to get your hands on these legendary ships. You get a bunch of filler, 2 100% off tier 6 ship coupons. Okay, let's say that's worth 60 bucks. The ability to fly ships of any faction, although if you have a KDF character already leveled up, you get that for free, or you could buy it pretty cheaply in the store. That's what I did on my main account. My free-to-play account obviously already has a level 65 character, so I just got it right away. 6 ship slots, 6 experimental upgrade tokens, which are nice if you need them or want them, but not if you don't. Obviously, you might want to use at least 4 of them on the ships that come in the bundle. 11 ultimate tech upgrades, 11 master keys. Anytime you see master keys in a bundle, that's a big red flag. 11 R&D promo ship crafting packs, which is just garbage because uh, chances of you getting a ship out of that is almost zero. Grether Targ Combat Companion, if you wanted that, you could just buy it. They're just forcing you to buy all this stuff, whether you already have it or not, or whether you want it or not. And then you get some exclusive stuff here. The Hollow Bridge Officer of Wharf, which is pretty cool. The Bereth Monk Robes, which is also cool. And then a title, which people don't really care about. I mean, someone cares about them, but not enough to buy a bloated, overpriced bundle to get it. And then, of course, we have the 3 ships. So there's supposed to be a 4th ship. There's the Burrell, the Vorcha, the Excelsior, and there's supposed to be another ship, and so that the stats for that haven't been released yet, so maybe I'll do that in another video when it comes out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ones that they do have available. Okay, let's take a look at the stats for the Burrell Bird of Prey, legendary Burrell Bird of Prey. I'll be the first to admit I don't really care for this class of ships, so it doesn't do anything for me, but there are a lot of fans of it. Iconic Klingon ship, so let's take a look at her. There's like a million versions of this in the game. No matter how many new forms of the bird of prey the Klingon Empire might produce or how many technological leaps they make, they keep coming back to the Burrell class. And simply cannot perform on perfection. Improve. If I could talk today, you know what? I always screw something up. Let's just skip all that and get right to the stats. Tier 6, Klingon and Klingon aligned, although I'm assuming with the update that you'll be able to fly it on Federation characters. Hull modifier 0.95. I know there were exceptions, so I don't know if the legendary ones were excluded from that. I should try it. I should make a KDF character and see. I'm sure it's written down somewhere, although it does say Klingon and Klingon aligned. Hull modifier 0.95, that's pretty weak. Shield modifier 0.85. This is worse than the Anniversary Raider. I'd like people to keep that in mind, okay? 4-2 weapon layout, worse than the Anniversary Raider. Experimental weapon slot, 2 device slots, bridge officer station, commander universal pilot. So it is a full pilot ship. Lieutenant commander universal intel, lieutenant commander universal, lieutenant universal. So you do get 2 lieutenant commander seats. It's a pilot intel ship. In my opinion, those are the 2 worst specializations. But I mean, pilot does fit with a raider, and especially when you think about the bird of prey, it's cloaking, it's maneuverable. You want those things, so I think pilot is thematic. I know people have wanted a pilot bird of prey, so this is going to be something nice for those folks. I don't really think the seating is useful in a performance sense. Uh, has 5 tactical, 4 engineering, 2 science. That's the same as the anniversary one. Turn rate 23.5, so it has a better turn rate than the anniversary ship. Same inertia, same impulse modifier. 15 weapons, 5 aux, which is a little bit worse than the anniversary one because the anniversary one has 5 engines. Enhanced battle cloak, raider flanking, pilot maneuvers because it's a full pilot spec ship. It can use dual cannons. You get mastery package. You get withering barrage, which is a C-store trait. A new trait, deadly appearances, account unlock. While this trait is slotted, decloaking will grant you significant bonus to shield pen and weapon haste, and that would be useful for both torpedoes and energy weapons. I mean, definitely both those things are useful for energy weapons. Energy weapons, you want haste. With torpedoes, shield pen is very valuable, so depending on the numbers, that could be quite useful. This bonus also applies while under the effects of an enhanced battle cloak, so especially if you're doing a torpedo build on a ship with a cloak and you're using the trait, for example, from the legendary Romulan ship, that might go well together. But again, at some point you're picking and choosing between along a list of pretty good traits, so I don't know how impactful this is actually going to be in practice. You get the enhanced induction coils, shield destabilizer, subspace jumper, and quantum warhead module consoles. And you got a new variant here, and I have to admit, I like the look of this. I think this variant looks pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of the sort of standard Burrell look, but there you go. In virtually every single way, this is worse than the Tamir anniversary ship that everyone's going to get for free. So really the only reason to fly this is because it is a Burrell bird of prey, and that's it, not because it's a good ship. It's a pretty lackluster ship and pretty disappointing in my opinion. Let's move on to the next ship. We have the legendary Excelsior Miracle Worker Heavy Cruiser. Trumpeted as the Great Experiment, the Excelsior was almost the first Federation starship to use transwarp drive. While that experiment ultimately proved to be a failure, the Excelsior established itself as a capable platform for research and defense thanks to the legendary exploits of her second captain, Sulu. Sulu and the Excelsior would literally save the galaxy, working with his old colleagues from another legendary starship. Weird usage of literally there, not sure it was very necessary. Legendary Excelsior Miracle Worker Heavy Cruiser stats, Tier 6, hull modifier 1.45, pretty high, but it is a Miracle Worker Cruiser. Shield modifier 1.1, pretty good. 4-4 weapon layout, that's to be expected, so pretty much beamboat, I guess. We got a Commander Engineering Miracle Worker. We got a Lieutenant Commander Engineering Pilot, which is pretty interesting. A Lieutenant Commander Tactical, a Lieutenant Universal, and an Ensign Universal. And let's see here. Well, yeah, I guess that seating would be fine for an Aux to Bat setup. You got Commander Miracle Worker, so you can do all your Miracle Worker stuff. Put a beam build on there, use some beam rays, and have at it. It's a cruiser, so you know you get what you get. Consoles 4 tactical, 5 engineering, 2 science, 1 universal because it is Miracle Worker, so that's pretty good. Having 4 tactical on a cruiser like this isn't bad. You're not going to get 5, so 4 is the most you can ask for. You can have the 5th one with the universal, so that's pretty good. And anyway, these things aren't really meant for DPS, or they're not intended by Cryptic to be that way. Base turn rate is 8, which is pretty atrocious, but expected. Impulse modifier 0.15, inertia 35, 10 weapon, 10 shields, 5 engine, 5 aux. Not the best, but it gets it gets extra power because it's a Miracle Worker ship, so it's fine. Innovation mechanic is always good, and you get transwarp computer and tactical maneuvering matrix as consoles. It seems like these is formatted differently than the last one was. Cruiser command array, you get that stuff, normal cruiser stuff. You get all 4 because it's just a regular cruiser. Ability package, you look for the traits here. You get improved weaponized emitters, target that explosion starship trait. That's a big ship, account unlock after starship trait. Target that explosion is not great, by the way, but that's a big ship. While this trait is slotted, activating any captain or engineering or bridge officer ability grants a boost to maximum hull and damage resistance rating for several seconds. The buff stacks up to 3 times. Unless this is god tier in terms of the numbers, it's not going to be worth using. We have tons and tons and tons of survival traits, and this would have to be pretty godly to make the cut on any kind of tanking build. I just don't see this being something anyone's going to want to use. Thematic, perhaps, but not really useful. New visual variant, the Repulse. And yeah, I'm liking that. That's pretty sexy looking, to be honest. This looks pretty nice. I would definitely want to fly that, even though I'm not getting the bundle, so I won't be flying it, but is pretty cool looking. So let's take a look at the last ship. And rounding out the ships that are available to talk about as of the time of recording, we have the Vorcha Command Support Battlecruiser. Should be one more Federation ship coming, I believe. The Vorcha class battlecruiser was the backbone of the Klingon order of battle for many decades, entering into service in the mid-24th century, blah, 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 blah. Tier 6, hull modifier 1.45, shield modifier 1.1, 5-3 weapon layout, which is pretty nice. It's not a 4-4 weapon layout. Good stats otherwise. 1 Lieutenant Universal Miracle Worker, 1 Lieutenant Commander Tactical, 1 Commander Engineering Command, 1 ensign science, and 1 lieutenant commander universal. And I have to say, that's not bad. Having command and miracle worker on the same ship is going to make it very good for torpedoes. The 5-3 weapon layout would be good for that. And, you can mix mixed armament synergy along with concentrate firepower. So, yeah, that's just going to be a pretty decent torpedo platform. Maybe not the best, but it's going to be pretty good. Consoles: 4 tactical, 4 engineering, 3 science. Turn rate of 10, not the worst, but it could be better. Impulse modifier 0.15. There was some issue with that. I think that they originally posted as being 6 and then they had to update it. Inertia of 30, 10 weapon and 10 engines, which is good. Battle Cloak, which is nice to have, but not really that great. The full command abilities are pretty good against all odds. Turn the Tide, those are pretty good abilities when you can use them. Mastery package, History Remember, not bad. It's another survival trait, but it's a decent one. New Good Day to Die. While this trait is slotted once per second, when you are damaged, you will gain a boost to outgoing damage and incoming healing. This boost stacks up to 10 times. This seems like it could be good, but I'm guessing the numbers are going to betray it. It's probably going to be Cat 1 damage, and the numbers are probably just going to be pretty mediocre, so that even if you're getting stacks all the time, you're constantly being fired on, it's still not going to add up to enough to actually be worth using. But it's a pretty cool trait, and it's one of the ones, where you don't have to really do anything, especially for single player content. If you're doing patrols and missions and stuff, obviously you're going to be getting fired on because you don't have any teammates. So traits like this are useful for stuff like that. Um, Consoles, you get the temporal trajectory shifter and the isometric charge. And then, of course, you get battle cruiser commands. You get strategic maneuvering, shield frequency, and weapon system efficiency. No attract fire. Probably not going to use it for tanking anyway. But yeah, so here's the visual variant. Not a big fan. Can't say I'm a big fan of the Vorcha in terms of the appearance anyway. Out of all these here, I guess the Viral would probably be my favorite. I don't like the sort of weird pronged nose that a lot of them have. The ones that have more of a hammer nose are better looking to me. But anyway, so that's that. These ships are pretty good. This ship isn't bad. If you're looking for a Miracle Worker cruiser, the cruiser isn't bad either. The Bird of Prey is kind of a letdown. But even if all the ships were just really amazing, it costs at least twice as much as it should. The bundle, even with a discount, even with a charge bonus or whatever they're going to give us, I'm sure, it's just not worth the money. They're padding it out with master keys and R&D promo packs and all kinds of junk like that. I don't think it's worth it. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do with their money. I would something better than this would have to come along before I would drop money on it. So, I mean, it's exciting that we are getting more legendary ships. I just wish that they were being offered in a different capacity. And if another stat page drops, we'll take a look at it. Should be a couple of ship reviews coming up, and including the anniversary ship next week. I hope you guys are all doing well, and sorry this video is so long, but I had a lot of news to catch up on. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff, and please stay safe during this pandemic.